Next, I'll talk a little bit about corporate banking. In fact, I'm going to have a Q&A session on this in just a few minutes. Most of the conversation around financial services innovation, has been centered around retail banking because of the changing needs of the end consumer. But frankly speaking, we are starting to see a lot more transformation happen in corporate banking as well. And this is primarily driven by 2 or 3 factors. Firstly, post-globalization, there is a shift in the global corporate banking space, with many of the players actually leaving major marketplaces and opening up the competition to either market leaders like Citi or to newer regional players. So they are bringing in new competition. Secondly, the volatility in the marketplace has put a lot of pressure on costs. So suddenly, banks are starting to think about how to get competitive, how to retain their customers. And lastly, there's been a tremendous growth in certain corporate banking segments, such as transaction banking. In the last year, I believe banks made close to $200 billion in profits from transaction banking. And that's a lot if you compare it to this $172 billion they made through their trading arms. So transaction banking is becoming a significant part of their portfolio, and this is now important from the standpoint of how do you target customers, how you retain them, so that you can retain the profits from those operations inside your enterprise. So we are powering the next generation of corporate banking services with the same philosophy of progressive transformation. We allow for you to take on a fundamental platform, which might be around corporate DDA or corporate loans, and then you can systematically continue to add a variety of services, may it be treasury services, payments, trade finance, or transfer agency. And you can continue to systematically grow your portfolio into a modern technology without having to do a wholesale replacement of every component. We have a solid presence in the corporate banking space. We have probably more than 85 banks that are using us for international operations, right? And we also have in the top 50 banks, probably more than 25% or more than 40%, I should say. More than 40% of the top 50 banks are using us for corporate banking.